Hey team, thank you again for attending or joining us for another episode of Real Talk. Really excited to bring today someone I would consider a friend, a professional, and someone that I and many others in our region look up to, Karina Stark. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this is one thing that I tell people. I have worked in this market now since 2002. I've engaged hundreds, if not over 1,000 realtors during my career. There's a small list of realtors that I would trust with my own personal business, and I have trusted that with you, and you guys were awesome. And so, for anyone watching, Karina Stark and her team are great, and I'm really excited that she's joining us today to give us a little more background on who she is, how she got where she's at, and the things that make her click. So, Karina, thank you again for joining. And let me just give you a quick introduction of Karina's background. Almost 30 years now in professional real estate. We're going to learn that she also grew up in a real estate family. She has sold over $500 million of real estate in our marketplace during her career. And if you read the reviews of what other people say about working with her, the level of professionalism, responsiveness, and the results she gets are second to none. So again, Karina, thank you for spending your valuable time with us today. And I want to ask, starting off, your early life. Where did you grow up, and tell us a little bit about your family makeup in the connection to real estate?
Yeah, no problem. Thank you again for having me. This is always fun to reintroduce myself, I guess. So I grew up in a suburb of Seattle called Mercer Island. I had a single mom, and she moved there specifically for the schooling and the education because it was tops in the state, and she wanted her daughter to have the top education. So I grew up there. I ended up going to the University of Washington and ended up getting a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology out of UW. So
Awesome. A husky.
that's, yeah, yeah, Husky. Yep, yep. And
And
I
you
actually, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
and you married a husky.
I did. I did. I did. More on that later.
You bet. Sounds good.
But yeah, I grew up. My mom, when she became a single mom in the mid 70s, I guess, she had been a teacher previously, and so then she went into real estate to have a little bit more flexibility with her schedule, and ended up being a residential agent. But then she went into management and was the vice president of John L. Scott at one point with um, walking alongside Lennox Scott, who owns the company. So
And is a legend in his own right in the real
yeah,
estate industry, both locally and obviously nationally as well.
yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit more because your mom is one of the three people that you credit as being a kind of primary influence on who you are, not only as a person but as a real estate professional. So can you share your perception as a kid watching your mom in real estate? And then I know she was also extremely influential on you early on in your career. So maybe just talk a little bit more about your mom. And I want to acknowledge, like, we also lost your mom earlier this year. And so a special time to honor her as well.
Yeah, she was an amazing woman. Um, yeah, I mean, I grew up watching her hustle. She worked hard. She was the manager of a couple offices at one point. But the one thing I really remember about her is she did not have any enemies. Everybody loved her. And interestingly, when I put the information out on Facebook and posted it with her page, so all of her friends saw it, it just flooded with people saying how wonderful she was and stories about her and things. And she just was a really great human being.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I think even in this industry, when we're negotiating back and forth, and there's all kinds of emotions and hard things, I definitely try to like think of her and just stay positive and smile on the face.
Yeah. Well, I think when we did this our pre-interview, you mentioned the word compassion, and the fact
uh,
that and I when I look at what again, I've worked with you both personally and professionally. You are highly competent from a professional perspective. You have like tactical negotiating skills. You always have a wonderful understanding of the dynamics in the real estate market. you know how to, get through an inspection and negotiate and do all the things that are important from a technical perspective. But what I love about it is that you do it from the client's first mindset. And I feel like that was maybe something that you learned from your mom, right? Yes, there's all these things that you technically have to do, but the reason you do this is not for your own benefit. It's because that's how you serve others in the business. And it sounds like that's something that you not only got to witness, but inherited from your mom as well.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Yeah. And I mean, the psychology part of it with my degree is kind of funny because I feel like I use my psych degree every day. Any realtor will tell you they've been a marriage therapist, they've been, uh, a counselor of all kinds of things. It's an incredibly stressful experience. And so I think putting yourself in your client's shoes and just trying to have the compassion and the empathy is more than half the battle. So.
Well, and I think I even think, Karna, as we move forward into a world where more and more people are able to get information at an easier pace, with AI,
Yeah.
empathy is going to be even more important, right? Because we shape our processes and our decisions around rational information. But buying and selling the home that your family is going to live in is a highly emotional process, right?
Yeah.
And anymore with AI, getting the information is the easy part. Trusting the information is another. And what I'm finding is that I think a lot of, especially first-time home buyers, are almost overwhelmed now with all the information they get from their AI app, TikTok, talking to
It's
friends.
not just Uncle Eddie anymore giving
That,
you
that's right. But
advice.
But that's something I'm going to come to you for psychology lessons, because I think the real professionals moving forward that are really able to provide a higher level of engagement than others are the ones that can listen and help people feel empathy in the process, because it's becoming overwhelming for some of us. Okay, so you graduate from University of Washington, you have a psych degree, you follow a friend to Portland away. Oh, I'm sorry, I take that back. You started at John L. Scott up in Seattle. So this is the second person that is a critical mentor of yours early on in your career. Tell us
Yes.
about your first job in real estate.
Oh my gosh. I graduated and had my degree and no clue what to do. Having grown up, my dad had been a developer, apartment owner type thing, and so I had actually helped manage some of his doors and things, and then didn't know what I was going to do. And so my mom said, "Hey, get your license." And I said, "Okay, yeah, get my license." And so I got my license, and shortly after that, she knew of a assistant position opening up for Betty Delarenti, who is an absolute icon in Mercer Island and Seattle real estate. She's incredible. She is definitely one of my three mentors. And so I went to work with Betty, and I worked with her and for her for 3 years and learned more than any training program could have ever taught me because
Mm-hmm.
she was the consummate professional.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so Betty was awesome. We
And,
worked together and I learned everything. Sorry.
she was doing mainly luxury sales up in that
Yeah.
area. Okay,
She was, I mean, I remember she did 45 million in sales in 1997 as a solo agent, which is
that's kind of insane.
incredible when you think of, yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of it.
yeah.
So it was
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple things I want to dissect here. And if anyone's watching this and is a newer realtor or considering getting into real estate, um, going to work at least initially for a seasoned professional, but not only a seasoned professional, but a seasoned professional that's good at their job can be a
Yes.
great way to get in and have a front row seat on how to run a real estate business, how to serve clients, and how to do it at a high level. So many people start as solo agents and build their business slowly, which can be great. But man, I mean, that's like getting your MBA in real estate sales, is to go to
It really
work for
was. I
someone.
went on listing appointments with her. I mean, I think I shared the story with you. We flew a client up to the San Juans to purchase a property up there. He was like the number four guy at Amazon. And
Yeah.
so
So in 1997, you guys broker a deal in the San Islands. How much was that property?
it was a $10 million property, which I should look it up now because I'm sure it's
I mean,
insane.
$10 million properties are a lot of money today. And in
Yes.
1997, wow, that is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Pretty cool. It was fun. I,
So,
I haven't quite flown anybody around Portland yet,
but
so
you're
we'll
willing
see if I
to.
get
You're
there.
willing to if anyone's watching. If anyone
I'm
wants to buy a
ready.
$10 million property, Karina would be happy to represent you.
I
You'd be
would be
great
happy
at
to
it.
fly you there.
Okay, so you get your start, and what an incredible, great experience. I guess just like, is there anything specifically that you would credit Betty with that you see influencing how you serve your customers today?
God bless her. She almost was a little bit of a workaholic.
Okay.
And she would just do anything. She just was there for them, and she was strong and opinionated and knew what she was doing. She
Hmm.
was very confident and knew what was going on.
I would describe you as confident and strong, so that's good.
That's
Great.
okay.
Okay, so but then you follow a friend to Portland,
A friend. Yeah.
and you start to work as a solo agent for John L. Scott here in our region, and this was 1999.
This was 1999. So my college boyfriend at the time we graduated, and he's still my boyfriend
Mhm.
after 25 years of marriage and 6 years of dating. So I followed Ted down to Portland in 99 and decided to become a solo broker on my own, which is really smart when you move to a new city and only know his sister-in-law and brother-in-law, who, God bless them, raised their hands to be my first clients.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That, by the way, that's not unique. My first transaction ever was my sister and my best friend. So I think that's how a lot of people get their break. So that's great. Okay, but so you did a couple transactions through family referrals, but then tell
Yeah.
us about how you talked to me about kind of the break you got, and
Yeah.
well, you sort of had you had one thing that you were focused on, and your mom wasn't totally in line. So
Yeah.
tell that whole story.
So, my mom had actually been part of the John L. Scott team that came down. I think it was Stan Wiley or All Professionals. I can't remember which
Mhm.
company that they converted into John L. Scott's. And so she had a really good relationship with a lot of the managers. So
Mhm.
I went and hung my license at the Portland execs office down in Tigard at Lincoln Square, Lincoln Center, and and I started just cold calling. I started, John L. Scott at the time was a huge tech force. I mean, it was the year 2000. And so what I did was I went on yahoo.com and I found FSBOs, for sale by owners, that raised their hand and posted their properties on yahoo.com, which was, there was no Zillow at the time. We
Right.
still we still had the book, you guys.
Right. Too bad we didn't think
So
about Zillow, by the way. Too bad that wasn't our idea.
right, right. So I would call these people and I would go on listing appointments and then list those properties. So
Uh-huh.
I would identify the people raising their hands as for sale by owners, and then I would show what I could do for them technology wise was so much better and why they should list with me. And it was great. I I don't really know why the area that I ended up focusing on wasn't the safest in the city at the time for a 25-year-old really green little real estate agent. And so I was in basements that I should not have been in, and things like that, where it just was not a good decision. And I would always tell my mom what I was doing and how proud I was of how, I was going after it. And she called the manager that I was working under, and she said, "Get my daughter out of these. This does not sound safe. I do not want her doing this." And so God bless him, he hooked me up with, there was an agent at the time, Dan Hockey, he was kind of the sales manager for a bunch of new construction. And so I got to be the site manager of a couple different neighborhoods. And at that time, like I said, I was 25. So, and my husband and I were getting married. And so I would hustle. I would sit on site from 12 to 5, and I would entertain the people that came in and get their names and numbers and create my database kind of thing. And if they didn't want to buy one of the products that we had, I would run them around between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. when I had to be on site, and 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. at night. So we
Mm.
actually have some best friends to this day who joke about that they just took care of my husband on the weekends because I was always working.
Well,
Um,
but what a
yeah,
great, again, if you're a newer agent or even newer loan officer, and this is, you and I share this in common. My big break was when I was
yeah,
second year in the business. I finagled my way onto a new construction site in Hillsborough as well.
Yeah.
and spent Saturday and Sundays out there. And the great thing about being there is there's a constant stream of potential buyers coming through those
Right.
properties, and you get more reps of just even having conversations, and for me, entertaining loan applications and seeing more scenarios. And it's such a great way to have more opportunities, to have more experiences early on in your career. And to your point, build your database, because the reality is if they're going through new construction houses on the weekend, they're going to buy a home. They may not buy that home, but
Right.
they're going to be buying in the next few months. And so yeah, and another part to that is that there's a lot of people that can sit site, but you have your work ethic. You're a hard worker, and you are willing to take people around in the off hours of not being on site and serving them, and making sure they were taken care of. So that your hard work is another thing that I don't know if you got that from your mom or Betty or who, but that's paid dividends for you as well.
Well,
Um,
it's funny because I was talking with my assistant Stacy today about this, and she's like, I think you should tell that story, because she's like, people don't necessarily know that you have put in the grind. Like
yeah,
I still work very hard, but I think younger agents think, oh, she just gets her business, whatever. And it's like, no, no, no. I've put in the time, and I've nurtured these people. Like, some of these people are dear friends of mine that they first bought this townhouse through me a million years ago. And I've sold them 4 houses since, and we're good friends. So
yeah, yeah.
I'm very lucky.
Yeah, well, so I'm going to just interject as well. And I was hesitant to tell the story, but I'm going to tell it. Is that when I
Oh,
was starting out in the business, okay, I got in the business in 2002. You had now started to build your business here in the Portland metro area for 2 or 3 years. And it was about 2005 or six that I was starting to gain some confidence and say, okay, well, I want to grow my business, and I need to meet the movers and shakers in our region. And I forget where I got your name, but it was a title escrow officer somewhere, and said, "Oh, you got to meet Karina Stark. She's working hard. She's helping a lot of people, and she'd be a great resource for you." And I called you up, probably out of the blue, probably a cold call, and I'm sure I had some sales script that I was too dumb to realize is weird, but called you up, and you were kind enough to entertain me for lunch. I brought sandwiches to your office. It's when you were on John L. Scott and Sylvan, and I was so excited, and I was so nervous to meet the great Karina Stark. And from then, I don't forget what happened, but I don't think I had any follow up with you for some time. And look, here we are. Who would have guessed?
yeah,
So
yeah.
many years later, 20
And
years later, here
now,
we
and
are.
now it's not me that you're so impressed with. Now, who are you in love with?
Well, yeah. For anyone watching this, I have a man crush on Karna's husband, Ted, who's a great guy. So there you go. All
Yes.
right. So you built your business, worked your tail off, served clients, put your clients first. And then your mom did something extremely influential for you around, was it 2009 or 10? Tell us about that.
Oh, about
With
the
MREA.
MREA. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mom actually, back in 4, 5, 6, was being recruited. She had a good friend, Carla Cross, who was also an educator. My mom taught real estate all over the state of Washington, and Carla was recruiting my mom to be a team leader at an up and coming company out of Texas named Keller Williams.
Hmm.
And so my mom she went to Austin and did a bunch of interviewing, and did not end up going that direction for a few different reasons. But she handed me this book and said, this is very similar to how you run your business. And because I was doing kind of a Buffini style of, which for people who are in the industry, he loves on his clients. He just
Hmm.
really takes care of his clients. And
Hmm.
that was a lot of the same thing that Gary Keller was saying in his book. And so I read the book, and kind of ran with it. And then, yeah, ended up aligning my business over at Keller Williams in 2011,
Hmm.
which was interesting because that was like, I know the bottom of the market was really like 08, 9, 10, but Portland was a little later to the game, as it usually is with recession stuff. And
Hmm.
so 2011, I think, was our bottom. And there was just so many amazing ideas for how to help people out of it. And it was coming from the service part of it, people who were underwater and all those things. So that was really what attracted me over to Keller.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so 2011, you go over to the Keller Williams office, which is around the time that I reconnected with you. And of course, Colleen Gordon, who is the
Uh,
legendary principal
I
broker,
should
PMAR
actually add
Broker of
her
the
as my
Year.
fourth
Yeah,
mentor, really.
yeah, yeah. So for those, Colleen Gordon's been, PMAR Broker of the Year and is widely known in our region as the best principal broker in our area. She is the principal broker at the Keller Williams office that Karina works at. So 2011, you go there, and then you dive into the Keller Williams culture,
I did.
the training resources, and that's been very influential for you as well, and specifically their coaching program. So tell us a little about that.
Well, and it's funny because I, my mom dragged me to things when I was little. Carla Cross's son, Chris, who's actually an OP up in Bellevue, or operating principal broker of a Keller Williams office. He and I think we were 14 or 15 years old, and our moms would take us to Lou Tice, which was like this positive, speaker, and we just rolled our eyes and we just were like, what are we doing? Fast forward 2011, Keller Williams has this thing called Bold. I'm sure any of my clients or family watching this is like, oh yeah, I remember your Bold calls. Um, but it was a lot about mental strength and about how to do the business from different ways. And the gal who wrote the program, Diana Kokoska, I just really respected her. She was also an extremely hard worker, a student of the business, and very into learning and all the things. So I started doing that and really, really loved it. And I
Yeah.
still do.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, I mean, speak a little bit to that. Like, how has your time at with either Diana or just going through that kind of bold program? How does that shape how you serve your clients today? Is there anything in particular that you can point to?
Um, I mean, back to your thing about like there's some scripting. Now, in my mind, what I like a script for is so that you can actually be listening to the client without
Hmm.
trying to think of what your response is going to be, right?
Hmm.
You can actually really hear them and listen to them
Hmm.
because you have this tool belt of things like how to respond, I would
Sure.
say.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, just the positive mental attitude part of
Yeah.
it.
And there's some accountability I know in the bold program as well. How
Yes.
many times have you
Yes.
gone through the bold program now?
It's embarrassing because people are like, didn't you learn it the first time? Why do you keep going? But I do say it's like exercise, right? You do it once, you're not done. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
I think I've done it 17 times.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's like how I respond when my wife asks me to go wine tasting. I'm like, I already know what it tastes like. I'm good. I don't need to go again. But every time's a little different. So there you
You got
go.
to go.
There
Yeah.
you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, I want to talk a little bit about your team structure, and
Yeah.
I also just want to share because I have bought and sold real estate with your team before, and I liken my experience to working with you guys at being at a restaurant where you have just a professional waiter, a professional server. And I know that may sound like, well, I mean, just that someone brings you your food. But if you've ever
No.
gone to a restaurant that is highly curated, then a really good server is understands how to insert themselves into your evening and then know when not to be a part of it. There's a perfect cadence, a perfect dance to when they come in to offer you another drink, refill your water, whatever it is. It's sometimes you go to places and it's too much, and most of us have experiences where it's not enough. And it's like you guys have that, like, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, like just the perfect amount of communication where I felt like I knew what was going on, so I didn't have questions, and yet it wasn't. I was like answering phone calls, texts, and emails every day. So, how do you do it? And I know
Well,
you have a great team. So Leslie, who primarily works with buyers, you've worked with for over 15 years. Kiera, who's kind of behind the scenes a little bit, but fulfills a lot of the administrative function. And now you've added Stacy, who's awesome, by the way.
yeah,
Um,
she is.
But how do you you're also a very strong leader to be able to orchestrate that level of perfection. So
That's very kind.
talk to us.
I
And by
don't,
the
I
way,
mean,
I share that this is also a theme that runs throughout your reviews as well. So talk a little about like how you've built that, and how do you keep it going after all these years?
well, I mean, we have templates, and honestly, that's very nice of you to say, because some people it's too much. Like you just they're not reading my emails,
Right.
and they still will ask you the question, and you're
Of
like, that
course.
was it.
Sure.
But so yes, we really try to customize it client to client. Obviously, nobody's the same, but over the years, we know the frequently asked questions. We try to get ahead of those things so that people aren't feeling lost. And just in my experiences on my own with a couple different things right now, I've realized I want an email that says what's happening next. That's what I provide, and I'm like, I I'd like that.
For those of you who don't
So,
know, Karna's working on a renovation of her house right now. So
and I'm like,
I
what
think
I
that's where
want
that's
my
alluding to.
yeah. Here's what happens next.
Right.
So yeah, so just over the years, I mean, and Kiara's been with me since 2012, and we will get like a client asking a question, and before I even tell her, she's like, I'm integrating that into the template. Don't worry. And I'm like, of course you are. And you knew
Yeah.
she knows she's in my head before I am. So
Yeah.
that's also really nice that we've had the longevity of working together. And she's such a compassionate person too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so again, another lesson to, if there's a young aspiring real estate professional out there that's watching this and looking for tips, make note of all the questions that you get from your clients that are routine,
Yes.
and
Yes.
repetitive, and build a process that proactively communicates that before they ask, and your clients will be thrilled.
Yeah.
And that's, it sounds like the tactic you've taken is you're just good about remembering that stuff. And it's the right thing to do for the client, number one. Number two, I would imagine it also creates some efficiency in your day because now you can be proactive in what you're doing with your day as opposed to reactively responding to questions that pop up.
100%. I mean, you have the answers already and through the steps, and it's, no transaction is the same. They're all different. I still am learning things 29 and a half years in the business.
Yeah.
But you can create a lot of consistency with a lot of the things.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Next question, because you know that I'm a nerd deep down inside,
Well,
and you right, and you are one of probably I would say if there's anyone who's attended the most of my little talks or webinars or anytime I speak professionally about the market, economics, forecasting, Karna's usually there, and Karna's also in the front row seat. As a matter of fact, it's gotten to the point when I present in front of a crowd that I don't know, I will find Karna in advance and say, hey, no embarrassing questions today. Just give me some layups. Because usually you're the one that'll ask some complicated question. I'm like, I don't know. I'll get back to you on that. So, anyways, but you love to learn, not only about the process and tactics and business and leadership and all those things, but also about the market.
mhm.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I'm a nerd too. I'm fascinated. I love numbers. I love spreadsheets. I, yeah, I don't know how else to say it. I'm a learning nerd. And that's part of what I think attracted me to Keller in the first place was the education piece because they're such a teaching company. And I'll never forget, sorry, side note, my mom came with me to one of the conferences one time, and my mom was with Cole Banker for many, many years
Uh,
until she retired.
uh,
Um, and there was another Coldwell Banker agent who said, "Why are you going? What is there left to learn?" Because my mom had been in the business for 30 years or what have you at the time, and I thought, and she thought as well. She was like, "There's something to learn every day. There's
yeah,
always more to learn. Are you
yeah,
kidding me?" And
yeah,
so that open-minded, like I don't know where it came from, but I just love
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it contributes to your success and your clients benefit from it as well. I mean, knowing the market is so important in so many levels.
it. It's a
But
huge financial decision for people. I mean, I
mhm.
want to be their economist of choice and know what's happening so that I can correctly guide them and help them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Well, keep learning. That's awesome. So, Wondering, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit,
Oh boy.
because I know that you serve your clients at a very high level, on a variety of levels, right? Not only again from the process, but your expertise in negotiations and communication and the market and all those things. Is there one success story? Is there one client story that you think back on that's one of your favorites that illustrates kind of how you've served your clients over the years?
Yes.
Okay, great. Please share. Please share.
I was referred to the grandparents of some of my past client buyers, and they were downsizing to move into a assisted living, independent living community.
Hmm.
And they could do DocuSign, but they didn't really want to do DocuSign. And I am definitely working with more mature clients these days.
Hmm.
I laugh because, when I was 25, I had a lot of first time buyers, and
Hmm.
now I'm not. And so I do a lot of older. Anyways, they were moving out, and we staged their house, priced it well. I mean, we had 14 offers. So, in order to meet them where they were, I printed all 14 offers and made my multi offer spreadsheet and took it over to them at like 7:30 at night on a Tuesday.
Hmm.
I had been running all day, talking to these agents and getting all the things done. And so we sat down and we went through every offer one by one. And I remember that I hadn't really eaten that day, and they had in the assisted living community at the front desk, there was a bowl of Cheez Its, like a packaged Cheez Its. And so I just grabbed two packages of Cheez Its and an RC Cola or whatever, just because that was my dinner.
Sure.
Well, they could not get enough of the fact they were like, "You are obsessed with Cheez Its." And it's like, no, I'm not. That was really the only thing there was to eat. And so we successfully sold our house for way more than they wanted to or thought they were going to. And for the closing gift, they gave me, which, that's never something you need, they gave me Cheez It socks.
That's hilarious. That
So,
is
anyways,
awesome.
and then fast forward 18 months later, they called and said, "You know what? We don't really like this living community. We want to go back to single family."
No
And so
way.
then Leslie steps in as the buyer's agent, and now she's just as close to them as I am, and they found a really cute place to land for their next chapter. So,
Wow.
anyways, like, but it was her birthday on Saturday. I just called this client. They're like, they just bring me so much joy when I see them, and they make me so happy. So,
That's awesome. The personal connection is, I mean, that's
oh,
just so special and really
yeah.
gives us purpose and why we do this. So that's great. Great story. The cheese it
And I got
socks.
Cheez It socks. So,
What's next on the horizon? How do you look at the market right now? What's your team doing to adapt? What's your team doing to look at opportunities? How do you see the real estate industry and what's your team doing to change their tactics moving into the future?
Well, great question. I think you actually have an economic forecast tomorrow that I can't make. So can you tell me what's going to
Yeah,
happen?
yeah, we'll see. I got a magic 8 ball here.
Yeah. No, I think it's I'm not saying we're doing what we've always done, but continue meeting the clients where they are and find out what they need. If they purchased maybe at the height of the market right before rates doubled in 2022 and they need to sell now, like work with them on how they can do that. Um, there's a lot of rocky stuff going on right now, so we're kind of watching where it lands. At the end of the day, people need to live somewhere.
Hmm.
So you're either paying your own mortgage or your landlord's mortgage. So,
Hmm.
if you can find a way to afford it and you're going to be there long term, real estate's the option or the only option, I think.
Awesome. Love that. Love that. I mean, again, just shows your client, first mindset. And that's why you've been successful. Whatever the client needs, we'll see them where they're at and we'll go from there. All right. So, again, putting you on the spot, this is a question that I always end with and I ask all my clients. If you, Karina Stark, could go travel back in time to 1997 or maybe it's 1999 when you moved to Portland and start your solo practice and give yourself one piece of advice,
Uh,
what would you tell yourself?
um, I would have said hire an assistant even earlier than I did.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
I think I hired my first assistant in 2005. And again, that was my mom's. advice because I had my first baby in 2003, and she was like, if it frees up 10 hours a week for you to be, you know, be able to focus with your child when you are with your child, do it. And
Yeah.
it's always been the right thing. That's the other thing that I think is pretty special about our team is that we don't mean to be, but we happen to all be moms. And anytime a kid has a tuba concert or a baseball game or what have you, that's the most important thing. We will cover for each other so that nobody misses. There's my
There's Ted
husband.
right there. Maybe you heard his name. Hey,
Anyways, so
family first.
yeah.
He keeps coming in. Yeah, highlight the issue. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. And you're right. Family does come first. Well, Karina, well done. I know you don't always love to do video, but you did a wonderful job here. And if people want to find Karina, she's at karinastarkteam. You have an Instagram channel. I imagine you have a Facebook page. Where else can people find you?
Instagram,
Yep.
LinkedIn, and just for the elephant in the room, because I always have to say this every time. Yes, it looks like Karina. I know. My parents are the only two people who actually say the I, which they say Karina, and I
Ah,
just say it Karna. So
okay.
I go by
Got
whatever
it.
anyone wants to call me. But
Yep.
yes, the Karna Stark team on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or email or call me.
Right on. Love it. And you will not regret it. Again, through personal and professional experience, she is one of the best in our area. Karina Stark, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for watching Real Talk. My assistant told me to ask you to like and subscribe if you're watching this, so hit those buttons below, and we'll see you again real soon.